Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes they research you got their plumbing business, or they're selling their store or something like that, and they're pretending like they're Coca-Cola, and they research how many people buy plumbing in Canada, and what percentage of the national market they're going to capture, and it's completely irrelevant. It just does not matter what's done on a national basis. We need to go smaller because you're just not going to get in front of all those people.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about the business plan, executive summary, and specifically the target market on the executive summary of the business plan. Again, Edmonton CPA, Spurrell and Associates talking to you about the business plan, executive summary, and the target market section of the executive summary in the business plan. Have Cole here with me today. Cole, how many days do we have left before tax filing deadline?
6 working days.
6 working days. That's if we work Saturday and take Sunday off. We got 6 working days, so the pressure is on. 6 more miles. 6 more miles. We'll talk about it as. The quote that we have here on our topic is, the Benjamin Franklin quote: "If you fail to plan, you are by default planning to fail. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail." Palo Alto has run the stats on that. The software manufacturer, they've surveyed small business owners and found that business owners who complete a business plan are 50% more likely to grow their business than business owners who don't complete a business plan. So 50% more likely to grow your business by completing a business plan. Now, the story that we have here are business owners. They're often focused on too broad of a target market. And what they really do is they end up diluting the effectiveness of all their marketing initiatives. All of their ability to onboard customers, to get in front of their ideal and likely buyers. It's diluted because they're going after too big of a target market. It tends to be the common mistake. So Cole, what are the questions that these business owners should be asking?
What is the executive summary of a business plan?
The executive summary of a business plan, we'll keep going through it. It's the most important part of a business plan. Comes right at the front of the business plan, and it has all of the factors of the business plan boiled down into one section of what's the most important part to remember. And remember that sometimes this is the only section that a high-level investor or banker is going to see. They won't see the rest of it. And as a busy business owner, sometimes it's the only section that you'll have time to refer to at certain times of the year when you're too busy. So it's the most important part.
Should you include a section in the executive summary for your target market?
I think that is such a significant part of the business plan that I would recommend putting the target market as part of the executive summary. For our business plans here, your target market is right in the executive summary, because that's going to guide how we're going to market, how we're going to hire for this thing. What the projections are going to be. For sure, it's going to affect everything, even pricing. So, target market is a section that I believe belongs in the executive summary of business plan.
Do small business owners often do national level research for their plan?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes they research you got their plumbing business, or they're selling their store or something like that, and they're pretending like they're Coca-Cola, and they research how many people buy plumbing in Canada, and what percentage of the national market they're going to capture, and it's completely irrelevant. It just does not matter what's done on a national basis. We need to go smaller because you're just not going to get in front of all those people. You're not going to go from zero to a national player overnight. That's not how it works. And in fact, trying to do so will probably guarantee your failure. So yeah, they often go way too broad, and they start doing this national level research that's completely irrelevant for the average small business.
Is the greater metropolitan area for some small businesses even too big?
Yeah, even if you boil it down, like for us, we're in Edmonton. We do business plans for clients who are in the rest of Alberta or BC or wherever they are. But even that metropolitan area is too big. If you want to be Edmonton electrician, that's kind of hard. There's a lot of competition there, right? Sometimes even there, we're talking about Ellerslie electrician or Ellerslie dentist. One of the clients we're helping out with now. More practical, more they're going to get more traction on focusing on something even smaller than something that's something that's too far away. And for some of our clients, like sometimes even a metropolitan area is too big. We get a lot of optometrists or dentists, and generally people don't want to drive from one end of the city to the other to see their optometrist or dentist. So you're going to spend a lot of money trying to get from that person from the south side to come to the north side to see a dentist. Focus on win your backyard first, then you can move outwards.
How often do people need to hear about a company before they buy from them?
The stats will tell us that the average consumer, so your ideal and likely buyer, actually needs to hear about you, see your advertisement, get a phone call from you 4.3 times. Obviously, it's difficult to contact them those 0.3 times, so we're going to call it 5 times. So they need to hear your message. You're trying to get in front of them 5 times. So you can start to see how getting as big as possible. Am I going to blanket the entire city of Edmonton 5 times? I'm certainly not going to blanket the entire country 5 times.
Do people try to get their ad out to as many people as possible?
Yeah, some people will say, well, for that sort of spend, if I'm going to spend this much on advertising, let's take out digital, because sometimes digital is difficult for people to conceptualize, although most of the effective marketing is digital these days. But let's say they're going to drop flyers. You'd be better off dropping those same flyers 5 times in the same location. So there's you have the choice between dropping 5,000 flyers to 5,000 houses, or 5,000 flyers to the same 1,000 houses 5 different times. You will do better. The people have done this over and over, this experiment over and over, and it always works out the same way. You'd be better off doing that same list over and over again, rather than doing a bigger list and doing them once. And so it's not, when you think about that ad spend, and then they blanket it out. They do a flyer drop and they blanket it out to 5,000 people. And nobody called me back. I was like, yeah, no kidding, nobody called you back. Because that's not how people work. They get comfortable with you. They start getting that brand recognition. They get a reminder, and people are busy. So then they finally pick up the phone. And it's no different in the digital landscape, where you want to get your Facebook ad in front of someone. Get it in front of the same person 5 times. If you want to get your Google AdWords, get it in front of the same person 5 times. Run the retargeting ad. So after they visit the site, it retargets them again and again and again. It's cheaper, more cost effective, more likely to work. That's the way to do it.
Is it better to get in front of a smaller list of potential customers more often?
Yeah. Just you rather than that bigger list, just smaller. Just you want to get in front of them over and over and over. Now maybe you don't want to get in front of them every day, but you just want to get in front of a smaller list more often than a bigger list less often. Remember, they're not doing anything until you get in front of them 5 times. So don't get in front of a market that you can't get in front of 5 times in a relatively short period of time. That buying window. We want to get in front of that smaller list more often. It's going to be more effective, more cost effective. It's going to give you more results.
How does that help keep advertising expenses on budget?
So if you're going to get in front of the customers more often. So let's say I got to get in front of these customers 5 times. You look at a city like Edmonton, it's 1.3 million people in Edmonton, and it's like, let's say you're in a business where half of them are homeowners, and those are your ideal and likely buyers. So you might have a couple of 100,000 people that you're looking at that are in your demographic. How much is it going to cost to get in front of those people 5 times? It's huge. Most small businesses, they can't afford that. Not off the start. That's something to aspire to. So you have a set number of advertising that you can, get out of sweat equity or money that you have saved up. It's going to help you get a reasonable, keep within kind of a reasonable parameters for an advertising budget, but also make sure that advertising budget actually converts people. It doesn't just make you feel good by saying, I got in front of this many people. Rather get in front of less people and have some of those people actually convert as customers.
Can this focus often reduce the travel time for contractors?
Yeah, that's one of the other aspects of it too. That even if, let's say, you did have the budget and you can get in front of a bigger geographical location, a lot of businesses, their costs increase by how far they get away from their core or their shop. So if you're thinking about targeting this area or that area, let's make sure, can we target our own backyard first? Because our own backyard has the least amount of travel time. So if you're paying guys by the hour to drive in the trucks and the service van to get out to a location, I mean, let's target the location where we have the cheapest travel costs first, and then go out from there. Because if it's not going to work with the cheapest travel time, how is it ever going to work with the more expensive travel? We're paying them an hour to drive through traffic instead of 15 minutes to get somewhere, pretty close by. So, really targeting your advertising initiatives, whether they're old school dropping flyers or new age, we're doing Facebook ads or Google AdWords or retargeting ads. We can do that geographically. So let's be really specific about where that target market is, and you'll be able to reduce your costs, your labor costs, and transportation costs accordingly.
Do some businesses have a very small list of potential customers?
Some of them, it's really small. It's not we're blanketing the whole city, we're blanketing nationally. Some of them, we have copywriters or graphic designers, and guess what? Most of their business is going to come from other marketing agencies or designers or something like that. So they might have literally 100 people that they can sell to. How you're going to market for that business that only has 100 ideal and likely buyers is drastically different of how you're going to market to that business that has 200,000 ideal and likely buyers in the city. So let's be really specific about it. We might choose different marketing initiatives. We go about things differently. We'll budget for things, forecast things differently in a business plan that we would for someone with a very small list of potential customers, and we can get really zeroed in on what efforts are going to translate to higher dollars and higher profit values for our clients. So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks so much for tuning in again. As always, please leave us some comments so we can respond back to you, and let us know what you'd like to see in future videos. And as always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. Thanks very much.